Okay, now we're going to look at 3-14b. And since we have this handy dandy tool here, we're going to use that. Just to review, we're supposed to write the equation for each mat, and then we'll simplify and solve for x. So let's get the tool up, and then let's get our piece of paper up. Okay, let me get that organized. So we are going to do, B. All right, so I'll write that down. And it looks like on the top, on the left, we've got 2x. And then in the negative area below, so negative sign and parentheses, we've got a positive x, and we have two -1 tiles, so that's -2. All right, and then we're going to put an equal sign because we know that this double line up here means an equal sign. These two sides of the mat are equal to each other. All right, and on the top, we see we've got two -1 tiles, so that's -2. And then the negative region, again, a negative sign and parentheses. And then we've got an x and a -1, -1 tile. Okay, so that's what we have. So now let's take a look at what our legal moves are and see what we might do first. Okay, so usually we check and see if we can either make zeros or combine like terms, and it doesn't look like we have any opportunities for that. So the next thing we'd want to do is move the tiles from the negative region to the positive region and flip them over as we're doing that. Okay, so I'm going to take these, move them up, and flip every tile. Do the same thing over here, move this up, and flip these tiles over. Okay, so now that I've done that, I see that I have some opportunities, but let's record our work first. So here we go. We've got the 2x, and then we flipped the inside of these parentheses. And so this positive x is flipping because of this negative sign in front of it. So it becomes a -x. And this -2 inside the parentheses becomes a +2. All right, and then we'll write -2 here. And now we're going to flip this positive x to being a -x. And because of this negative sign, the -1 turns into a +1. Okay, so we flipped. Now we'll look and see what else we can do. So a lot of times after you flip, it makes sense to go back up here and see if you can make zeros or combine like terms. And it looks like we have a few opportunities to make zeros. So here we could make zeros out of these guys. So they come down. And we have an opportunity right here to make zeros with these two 1 tiles. Okay, so we've done that. So let's go back and record our work. So we combined the 2x and the -x, and so we've only got one positive x left, and +2. And as you can see, that matches up with the tiles that we have there. And then over here, there are no other x's, so that's just -x, but we were able to combine -2 and 1, so we have one -x. And that, as you can see, matches up with what we have up there. Okay, so now let's take a look at our rules again and see what else we can do. Okay, so we already flipped. I don't see any same value tiles on each side. So if we want to get the x by itself, we're going to have to remove some tiles. So let's see, we could add a positive tile on this side to make a 0 out of that. and add another positive tile over on this side, because when you add to both sides, you have to do exactly the same. Okay, so we added that tile, and now I'm just going to make a 0 out of that. Okay, so let's record what we did. So we added a positive tile to both sides. So now we've got x plus 3 over here, and we have negative x, and these zeroed out. Okay, so what we have here now is an equation where we've got a negative x and a positive x on both sides and 3 tiles. So this is interesting because you have to wonder, will it ever be true that these two things can be equal to each other? And it doesn't really look like we can. So what we could do is simplify one more time, or do one more move to simplify. So we can always add the same value tile to both sides to make zeros. So let's get all the x's on this side. So why don't we add a negative tile? So what we can do is, well, we can add a positive tile to both sides. And we can zero that out. And here, that means that we now have 2 x's over on this side. So we want the x's by themselves. So maybe what we do is now we add 3 negative tiles to both sides. So let's put that up. Okay, and then we can zero out all of these. Okay, so that's what we have left right now. So let's take a look at what happens when we record that. Okay, so first of all, we added a positive x to both sides. So that zeroed that out. And this now has 2x. And we also added negative 3 to both sides. So here that zeroed out, but here we have negative 3. Okay, so now we have 2x is equal to negative 3. And the last move that we have is dividing both sides by the same amount. So we'll divide this, and then it looks like we can't divide it evenly. So it's got to be like 1.5. Okay, so if we divided this side by 2 and this side by 2, we would find out that this is x, and this is equal to a negative 3/2, or 1 1/2. Okay, so that's our solution.